You need to make $5,000 fast. So instead of borrowing money or using your overdraft, I'm going to explain step by step how to generate $5,000 in just 7 days. Now, what I really like about this method is that even if you're brand new or you've been running a business for a long time, you can quickly use it to get 4 and 5 figures into your bank account. And if you can do it once, you can do it over and over and over. Just like I have done with these funnel builders here, and other marketers just like you. Now, you might think that there's a catch, like I'm just going to tell you to spend a ton of money on ads, or, well, yeah, you can make $5,000 a week if you have a huge list or an audience. Nope. Even if you're starting from scratch, if you have no list or no audience, we're not going to spend a cent on ads. I've used this method all the time, and to date, I think it's generated something like $125,000 this year alone, and we're only sort of halfway through the year. I've taught this method to hundreds of my funnel builder students that struggled with cash flow and making fast sales just like you, and now I'm going to share it with you for free. So to start, I want to share a very fast and very adaptable part of the process that makes it way easier to sell and make money. Now, if you hate selling and sales and you feel awkward when you're selling, then this is going to completely change the game when it comes to making money. Plus, if you've ever struggled to pick the right thing to sell and you're a little bit overwhelmed with how many offers and products and services you could choose to sell, this part is going to clear up all of that for you. So making money requires 3 things. It requires either audience, it requires more money, or it requires time. Now, you can spend a ton of money on ads and content creation. You can speak to your list or your audience if you want to drive sales. And of course, you can manually make sales and close customers from scratch using time. And I'm going to assume that you don't have a ton of money to pour into ads or to pay someone to do this for you. And I'm going to assume you don't have a massive audience, but you do have some time. However, we want to get you paid within a week, so we actually don't have a massive amount of time, which is why it's critical that we focus on the right areas. So when it comes to making money, most people feel that making money online or selling is broken into these general categories. We've got product creation, we've got the campaign, we've got selling, we've got closing, we've got messaging, we've got the niche, and we've got qualification. Now, if we're starting out and you only had 7 days, where would you put most of your time and energy? Now, bearing in mind, our goal is to do $5,000 in 7 days, so a full week. And obviously we want to have a decent profit margin. If we pretended that these are 7 buckets and you can only fill 3 of them with water, if you had to make $5,000 quickly, which 3 buckets would you fill? Now, most people would fill the product creation bucket, the campaign creation bucket, and the selling buckets. We kind of imagine that in order to make a lot of money and to sell stuff, sort of 80% of the effort is within these 3 areas. That's where you want to spend most of your time and energy. And we think of the other pieces like qualification and niching and closing and messaging and stuff. We kind of consider them secondary tasks that aren't the priority. And the problem is that seeing your products or sales journey as product, campaign, and selling as most of the effort is categorically incorrect. Now, it's not your fault because that's what you have been taught over and over and over. Gurus love to teach about product creation. They love to talk about new services and new offers. And you might feel that your time, if you only had 7 days, was best spent choosing the best product to sell. There's that kind of concept that, well, if I choose the right product, it'll sell itself and it will be easier to sell. And the thing is, you've got so many new apps and platforms being released all the time, like this one behind me here from the guys at High Level. it can seem a little bit overwhelming knowing what to choose and what to sell. And then you couple that, you have all these new platforms, and you also have all these new sort of methods, I suppose, things like AI, automation, and it can get a little bit tricky knowing which of these two to pick and how to build an offer out of what's available in the market. And this is entirely the wrong mindset. I want you to avoid thinking like this at all. So one of our previous marketing agency clients that I worked with, they actually needed to cover a $50,000 shortfall in their budget, not $5,000, $50,000, and we needed to close something like $10,000 within the week. And what I noticed is that the conversation immediately turned to what would be the best product to sell? What should we offer? What should the thing be that we give to people? And I'm going to say you shouldn't worry about finding products to sell. You should worry about finding people to sell to. What I need you to do is to find communities of people that you can help who also have a problem that's worth solving. If we come back to our buckets, this is incorrect. Worrying about the product and the campaign and selling is fundamentally wrong. Instead, the number one thing you need to work on is the niche. The number two thing you need to work on is qualification. And the number three thing you need to work on is messaging. When we find a group of people who have a problem that is costing them $5,000, the money isn't in the product or the solution, it's the people, especially if those people have an expensive problem. Forget the product and the offer and the delivery for now. Instead, I want us to pour all our efforts into these three buckets. Now, closing and selling are way, way, way easier when you're marketing the right offer to the right people. The campaign doesn't need to be clever or complex. When you've got the right niche and you're qualifying people, it takes care of itself. And the product doesn't need to be complex either. So I asked my clients, I want you to go ahead and find communities, research groups of people. And what we did is we used this worksheet here. So I asked my clients to research and find groups of people. I wanted them to find groups of people and communities that they could engage with and communicate with. I wanted them to segment the different types of markets and what their problems are, and research a ton of problems that their different markets have. And we use this worksheet here to figure out where other businesses and where their clients are hanging out, and to list all the different places that we might find our ideal clients. Plus, it helps us understand what problems they have and what they're willing to spend, if they're willing to spend anything at all. Now, pro tip, if you can't find any communities for your chosen market or your niche using a list like this, that means it's too small or it doesn't exist. So go back to the drawing board and think about another niche, because we need to find people with problems that we can solve, problems that are costing them more than $5,000. But that raises the question, and my clients said the same thing, how do I know what problems are worth $5,000 to people? Now, by the way, if you want this community research worksheet, you can actually get a free copy down below. It's just a Google Doc. As you can see, it lists out all the places that you can look to find groups of people. If you use the link below or head over to go.sellyourservice.co.uk/research, and you can get this worksheet for free. So, how do we know what problems people have that they're willing to spend $5,000 on? Now, this next part unleashes the ability for you to sell anything to anyone. If you can get this, you will never have to worry about making sales ever again. And even better than that, if you hate selling or you feel uncomfortable selling and closing, this is the best method that I know of in order to sell things and make money without actually having to sell. It basically gets the customer to ask to buy from you. The easiest sale in the world is when it seems like a smart, logical choice. Now, there are 4 areas for making sales. There's cost, there's make, there's missing, and keep. and the problem that you solve needs to cost the customer at least what you're charging them. For example, let's say that you work with course creators and they sell a course for $1,000. You need to help them find 5 missing sales. If you're charging $5,000, the problem you solve needs to be costing them more than that. So I want you to identify one thing that they need to fix. I need you to outline what it's costing them, and I need you to tell them that you can fix it. For example, if we can help people make $5,000, or if you can help 5 people make $1,000, maybe they have a $1,000 product and you're going to help them find 5 of them. If you charge someone $1,000 and you said, I'm going to help you find 5 $1,000 clients, they will understand that that's a problem they're solving. But it's not just about making, we sometimes call this gaining. It's also about keeping clients. Let's say you work with SaaS businesses or you work with gym memberships and their average price is, let's say, $100 a month. If you're able to help them keep 10 of those, that's $1,000 a month you're helping them keep. If they have a problem with like churn or retention, this might be a really valuable problem for you to solve. There's also opportunities that they're missing. Now, this is my personal favorite. For example, let's say that if you're able to help them find one $5,000 client and you're able to angle it in a way and say, I can help you close clients that you're missing out on. That's a really easy way for you to fix a part of their funnel and find them 1, 2, 3 clients that they charge $5,000 for, but you're only charging $5,000 or $2,000 in order to be able to help them. And finally, there's a cost. This could be anything from the CEO's time. Let's say that the CEO is $1,000 an hour. If you help them eliminate 2 meetings a month, then you're saving them $2,000 a month. That's $24,000 a year. And you could charge $5,000 for helping them do that. And there might be other things. For example, their salesperson might be costing them an extra $24,000 a year or an extra $5,000 a month. There's ways for you to be able to figure out, why is there a logical reason why someone should work with me? Because when I look at the groups of people earlier from our community and I identify CEOs, I identify course creators, I identify people who are already making sales, and I say, well, what's costing them $5,000? How can I help them make $5,000? How can I help them keep $5,000? Or where are they missing $5,000? That is an extremely powerful pitch for you to be able to help them. And one of my favorite ways to get someone to work with me is, would you like some help with that? If you said to people, I've got a method for helping YouTube businesses like this one, YouTube channels, land 5 $5,000 private coaching clients because you're missing out a critical part of your funnel infrastructure, I guarantee you will have people reaching out to you and saying, that sounds like something I'd like help with. If you then have a conversation with them, ask them questions about their business and say, okay, would you like some help with that? Most of them will go, yes, please, that sounds fantastic. How can I work with you? And you also don't have to do like clever closing practices because the maths make sense for them to work with you. Okay, so how do we actually get people to buy from us? Now, you might think that you need to build the product, and that is the worst possible thing that you could do. So if we go back to our buckets, I'm now going to remove the single biggest roadblock to making money that everybody faces. I'm going to speed up how quickly you can make sales. This will also make selling new products and ideas much faster and easier. And I'm going to cut your workload in half with one simple change. So everyone else is going to teach you to either pick a product or build a product. They'll get you to create a course or something like this to sell. And this is fundamentally incorrect. Do not create a course or a product yet. You simply don't have time. We all get super excited about building and creating products and coming up with something so exciting and interesting that people will buy it. Let me know in the comments if this has ever happened to you. It still happens to me all the time. I regularly come across an app and I'm like, oh my God, I could sell this to people. That would be so easy. Or, oh my God, I got this new idea for a course or a program. I should build that and I should sell it. I have worked with so many agencies and course creators and coaches and funnel builders who have created a product, spent time, energy, and effort pouring all of their energy and resources into this bucket, filling it up where they don't have any more time. And then when it comes to actually selling it, it's crickets. No one's interested because they haven't done this in the right order. We need to think more in terms of music tours and concerts rather than the Ryungyong Hotel. So apologies if I'm pronouncing that incorrect. The Ryungyong Hotel is a hotel in North Korea, right? And it was basically built without selling. The method that I'm going to try and show you here is to sell first and then build second. I'm just going to write that. First of all, would you like to holiday in North Korea? I wouldn't particularly. And the rumored cost is something like 750 million. Now, you have to understand, that's for North Korea. It was something like 2% of their GDP. It's an enormous amount of money to spend on a hotel. And here's the insane thing about it. It's kind of semi-half completed. Apparently there are like little segments that you can kind of stay in, but they didn't build anything that had a demand behind it. We constantly hear like, build it and they will come. That doesn't happen all the time, and it's extremely dangerous and it can cost you a lot of money. So North Korea spent 750 million building a hotel, and then they basically ran out of money and they weren't able to get anyone interested because who the hell wants to holiday in North Korea? Pivot to Taylor Swift, right? Now, a lot of people constantly say to me, Mike, you're constantly comparing North Korea and Taylor Swift, and I swear this will be the last time I do it. Taylor Swift, or any of the huge like kind of mega pop stars, any of the regular kind of pop stars and rock bands, they will sell tickets sometimes years in advance. They make their income before they make the show. In some cases, they'll even attempt to sell tickets, and when they realize there's no demand, they'll actually cancel that part of the tour and move it to a different place. They also have a pre-existing base. They have an audience of customers who have already bought from them. Taylor Swift has her extremely loyal fans who will buy anything and everything that they can get their hands on. When Taylor Swift makes an offer, she takes your money first. I know like Ticketmaster does, and there's a whole thing like whether she'll take over that part of the process, but regardless, you hand your money over way before they've delivered the service of a music venue to you. So what you need to start doing is selling that overall concept that you're giving and creating a very simple offer, getting people on calls and then closing them way before you build something. If you can't sell it now, you sure as hell are not going to be able to sell it just because you've built it. Now you're probably thinking, what was the actual campaign that I used to generate sales? And that's why I've got this video here talking about how I made $20,000 in one weekend. So if you go ahead and click on that one, you can see the exact sales page and the emails I sent to bring in over $20,000.